Hey guys, it's Coach P. Just wanted to go ahead and wrap up Personal Finance Part 1. If you're following along on the PowerPoint, which is provided on Canvas, we'll be going over slides 21 through 28. All right, so first things first, I want you to complete the sponge activity. Just simply answer 3 questions. What are the 4 financial institutions? What does the FDIC stand for? And what is the role of the FDIC? All right, so this will be posted up on Canvas under Module 3. Just below it, it says 3-8-18 sponge activity. I want you to complete it. I want you to type your response and submit it, and this will be graded for participation grade. I just want to see that you understand where we're going before we move on when I get back. All right, so let's get started and finish up this PowerPoint for Part 1. All right, so we have some other options that we're going to consider. All right, so we had your 4 financial institutions. This would be number 1, your banks, your credit unions, your savings and loans companies, and then also your payday loan companies. All right, so that would be number 1. There is some other options in regards of making money, and I'm going to hopefully try to explain this in this video. All right, so we're going to start off with securities. All right, now a bond, technically reading the slide, bonds are regularly offered by governments and other entities, companies. By investing in them, the investor gets a promise that their investment will be repaid with interest. All right, basically simple terms, it's more or less an IOU. All right, and let's say you act as the bank, okay? When you are buying a bond from the government, you're essentially putting your money into the government. Okay, you're giving them your money. Okay, now with time, eventually that payment will be paid back to you, but with interest. You'll make more money out of it. Okay, this is very evident in macroeconomics. When essentially a government will buy bonds from us as sellers, they're trying to boost the economy. This is more if we're in a depression or we're going down in the business cycle. On the flip side, if a government is trying to sell bonds, they're trying to suck in money into the economy. They're trying to slow it down. This is what happens when inflation is too high. The price of the value of the dollar goes too high. So the government will actually sell bonds to slow down the economy. We buy them, and eventually the government will make their money back with interest. So the good thing about it, it's guaranteed repayment, low risk, low return. All right, if we act as a bank and the government buys, or we put money into the government, they will pay us back our money plus interest, which is a good thing. All right, moving on to stocks. All right, now we talked about this very shortly when we wrapped up microeconomics. We talked about corporations. All right, so we talked about stocks and partial ownership. People who believe in the business prospects of certain corporations, they buy stocks in that company. If you believe a company is doing well, you're going to buy stocks or shares into that company. And what that does in return, you'll get partial ownership in that business. All right, so the investor gives the corporation his or her money to spend. So if I'm investing into, let's say, Walmart, okay, let's say that was a publicly held corporation. If I put money into that, I do own partial ownership of that. I'm not saying that, I own 20%, but based on the stocks, I do invest in that business. And the crazy thing about stocks is, and you'll know this later, if you invest, the higher the risk, the higher the return. So the more money you put into the stock, essentially the more money you can make out of it. However, you can also lose your tail too. You can put a lot of money into it and then lose a lot if the company goes down. If you look over here, you look at this graph down here. This is called the Dow Jones graph, and what it does, it tells you, whether or not the business is going up or down. Okay, if the business is going up, you're going to make money. Business goes down, then you can either trade your stock or you can sell your stock in the stock market. All right, so when you own a stock, you can sell many times, like I just said. If you sell and you made profit on that actual stock, it's called capital gain. All right, that's a term that I gave you on your Unit 1 sheet. All right, now mutual funds. All right, these are mostly offered or organized as a portfolio. This is a collection of investments, stocks, bonds, and other forms. All right, this is where a group of people go into and invest money into actual financial advisor who would pick out certain companies that they want to invest in. Okay, and this is mutual. It's the name, mutual fund. All right, like I said, stocks, bonds, other forms of securities. This is all into one. And when you combine all the different forms, this is known as portfolio. Another term in your Unit 1 term sheet. All right, so the goal of a fund is to have many people pool their earnings, meaning that they invest their money. Okay, and the more people you have and you invest, it's the greater your purchasing power will be. So the earnings that you get that are used by the accrued earnings are then used to buy a range of investment options. All right, any earnings made by the fund are distributed among the individuals. So if we all put our money in, let's say we all put our money in, we invest in this financial advisor to essentially pick out funds that we want to buy. If we make money off of that, it's distributed among all of us. So if a company's winning, we're all winning. If a company's losing, then we're all losing money too. All right, so to wrap up this, whatever the investment is in finance, there's more risk. All right, the higher the risk, the higher the reward. People, if you're willing to invest more in a riskier venture, think of like a young company trying to come into the emerging field or into the market. You can run a high chance of losing the entire investment because, a young company has to compete with every other corporation. If they feel like they're not doing well, then your investment is not going to be worth it. However, they also stand to make the most of their investment if the venture is successful. So that's why businesses take risks. Okay, these are the price makers. They go into the market hoping to make money. Like I tell you all the time, businesses are in it to make money. That's the whole purpose. All right. So with financial institutions, when we're talking about financial or finance, the higher the risk, the higher the reward. Okay. So when we talked about stocks, high risk, high return. We talked about bonds or securities, low risk, low return. All right, so let's say a man has $100 and hopes to invest this money and receive 10 times the amount back, which is $1,000. By the end of 5 years, to best accomplish this, what should the person do? Should they place money in a savings and loan account? Should they deposit the money in a commercial bank account? Should they purchase $100 worth of stock in a startup company? Or should they buy $50 worth of bonds and invest $50 in a mutual fund? I'll give you a sec. All right, so for this, you should have put C, okay? And the reason why, if a man's ambitious, they not only they want that high rate of return, which is a tenfold, they want it in a short amount of time. All right, so we go back. Would a bond be necessary? No. It's lower payment, low risk, all right? Remember, the higher the risk, the higher the return. The more money you put into something, probably the more money you're going to make back. So therefore, this man that we're referring to, he needs to get the riskiest investment option because he wants his money now. So with that being said, the answer should have been C. All other options, they would help you earn money, but not that much, not that fast. All right, because the lower the risk, the lower the return. The higher the risk, the higher the return. Simple as that. So all right, guys, that wraps up Personal Finance Part 1. We plan on having a quiz on Friday. It's 7 questions. All right, so what I would like for you to do, if you took notes, great. If not, keep watching this video, take notes, and be ready. This quiz is only 7 questions, but overall, this will help, I believe, preparing for our unit test, which I plan on having within the next week or so. All right, guys, if you have any questions, again, don't hesitate to contact me, text to remind, or even shoot me a message on Canvas, or even email me at tyler.pineda@hallco.org. All right, thanks, guys. Y'all have a good day.